good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. So we're going to jump straight on board with that number 51 machine of Maxwell Caldwell, who's going to take us through some laps here at Phoenix Raceway. So Maxwell, I know you've run some practice laps here, and we've talked about this track is warm and it is slick. So take us through what we're going to watch out for tonight.
Absolutely. So the one thing you're going to have to watch is this entry into turn one. What I like to see in practice was there were multiple grooves. You saw me use that second groove there, and I got to admit that was unintentional. But there are going to be multiple places that you can ride here at this track. But definitely going to have focus on heavy braking into both corners. And right here in turn 4, you're really going to have to watch for this car to be getting loose on you here. So as we go into turn 1, you want to be really heavy on the brakes, riding it into the corner. Release right there before you get to the apex, let it roll. And the goal is to be able to stomp that throttle and bring it all the way out to the wall. Some will dip down here onto this apron. Some will keep it up on the racing surface. I think the times equal out, whether it be momentum or just short distance, kind of catches up. But right here in turn 3, you really want to hug this yellow line. But the goal is to keep enough tire under that you can mat it right there out of 4 and get a great run. So lots of passing areas on this track tonight. Turn 1 will be a place that you'll see maybe a lot of dive bombs. Maybe guys sticking that nose in there really late on corner entry. And then turn 3 is so flat and so slick that you're really going to watch if one guy slips up, somebody may be right here on the bottom to pounce. And then the last thing we need to talk about, which normally you wouldn't think about here at a track like this, is pit road. So, you've got a lot going on here. You've got a lot of tight racing. A lot of guys are going to be together here. But you're going to watch guys, some of them are going to cut way down here on this apron to even make some passes. But getting onto pit road here, we're probably going to see green flag pit stops. So as you go in the corner here, instead of gassing up, you're probably going to continue to get it woed up. Give it a short burst of gas here to get right there to the line to hit that oh-so-important 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. And these drivers will be creeping down this pit road as they watch their competitors drive by on the right side. And then one other thing we're going to watch is as you come into your box, you get your 4 tires and fuel. One other thing you're going to have to think about here is this pit road exit, because it is a little different. So if I were to stop in a box, and I'm just going to pretend to stop in this one, and you get that run out, you got all this momentum here. We talked about momentum at the Daytona Road Course. Right here, you can be below this blue cone. So a lot of drivers may opt to stick right next to this pit wall and shortcut that pit exit just to be able to blend up on track and get to turn 3 as quick as they can. Minimizing that drive time on pit road and on pit exit could be the key to winning this race, Gael.
Yeah, exactly right. Really great points that you're making there, Maxwell. Really appreciate it. So we're going to go over our race info for tonight. 120 laps is the race distance here this evening. Saying 78 degrees is the ambient temp right now. Track temp 119 degrees, and I think that's been one of the things these drivers have really been fighting with tonight is that track temperature. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. And the big thing, of course, going into tonight is our point standing. So right now, Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, they are the 2 winners thus far this season. They've been able to beat up everybody throughout the season. However, Chad Wilkes, I think this is going to be one of his strong chances tonight. Say he won here last season, able to win that championship as well. So unfortunately, Kevin Freese not able to make it tonight, but then you got Dale Knott there in 5th. Chris Matthews 6th, and a tie for that 7th spot between Gabe Butler and Jack Wells, which right now that is at the moment the cutoff spot. So he's got basically, and then you got James Ledford there in 9th, 1 point behind the 2 of those drivers. So this could get very interesting between them. So it's going to be a lot to kind of keep an eye out for this evening. And then just 5 points back of them is Todd Merkel in the 2 car. Unfortunately, Todd not here tonight. So I think right now it might be between James Ledford, Jack Walls, Gabe Butler. So I think those are going to be some of the drivers to focus on this evening.
Absolutely. So you're going to see a lot of guys battling it out. And we've got a lot of guys, Gael, that are not going to be here tonight. We've got the 2 Kevins, Kevin Freese and Kevin, I'm losing his name. I'm having a
Kevin Brown.
Gael. Kevin Brown, man. Yeah, I could not think of his name to save my life tonight. So you've got 2 really top 5 contending drivers not going to be here tonight, which is not going to factor into that drop week. It's going to count as a last place finish for them. So some of these guys with the small field we have tonight will be ready to capitalize on their opportunity they have.
Yeah, exactly right. And you're spot on about the short field this evening. Looks like going to be 11 drivers taking part. So definitely short field is going to really increase the chances of us going green, maybe seeing those green flag pit stops like you mentioned. Say Larry Yingling able to sneak the pole away from Ryan Kelly by 0.02 of a second. Chad Wilkes there in third. Dale Knott in fourth. In fifth, you got Michael Spell, Gabe Butler in sixth. James Ledford in 8th, Jack Walls 9th, Chris Matthews in 10th, and then you got Eric Laurie in 11th and Joseph DeCiro in the 12th position. So, like I said, it's kind of a short field here this evening, but I say it's going to be a lot of fun to see what these guys are able to do, because I think the pit strategy also going to be very interesting tonight. It sounds like it could be right on the edge of a one-stopper should you opt to try to stretch that fuel out, but we'll have to see kind of what the tires do. If they start burning those tires up, we might see someone maybe opt to make that two-stop strategy. It'll be fun to see what kind of the popular approach is if we see drivers pitting around lap 40, or maybe we see them wait till lap 60 or so to hit pit road. And with that pace car just now rolling off, Larry Yingling's got to make sure he turns the car on and gets rolling out there, maybe trying to save every ounce of fuel in that 67 car. And I say kind of the running theme of the joke this week has been from the race last season with the championship finale. Say Larry Yingling opted to make some pit strategy, decided to not use that set of tires he had available. And unfortunately, the race went green long enough that I was able to allow Chad Wilkes to find his way around to get the win. So I think we'll see, like I said, if the opportunity arises, I suspect we will most likely see Larry in more often than not in that 67 car. So I'll have to wait and see as we see the pace car duck off into pit road. It's going to hand it over to that 67 of Larry Yingling. And we will get things underway here as the green flag flies. 120 laps at Phoenix. Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly leading the front row here.
Absolutely. And look at the jump the 13 guy threw on the outside. I think that's going to be a lane you may even prefer on these restarts, as you see the 13 really getting a good run on the top, but Larry probably going to use that dog leg, and him and Chad Wilkes go down there to kind of equal that distance as they head off into turn 3.
Yeah, it says where if Ryan has the opportunity here, if he can try to keep Larry pinched, I say if he can prevent Larry from being able to use the whole exit here out of 4, it's going to really give him an opportunity here back into turn number 1. He won't quite be able to do it. Chad Wilkes, he was peaking at that third lane, but it looks like Larry Yingling going to lead lot number 1 here as they come into turn number 2 or 1 and 2 for the second time around, and now Chad Wilkes trying to put the pressure around on that 13 car.
Absolutely, and as these guys start getting their feet wet on track, Gael, here's what I'm going to be looking at this race tonight. I think it's a tale of two races. I think these top 4, they are hands down the best of the best in the field that they've shown that all season long. These 4 are going to break away into their own little pack. And 5th place on back, they will probably be their own pack battling out for position as well. And we're starting to already see that very early on, as the 94 of Dale Knott already has about a second gap over 5th place.
Yeah, and that's going to be another question too, of course, is kind of the short run versus long run pace as well. These guys have to make sure that they're not abusing that right front, right rear tires too much too early here, because let's say that's just going to hurt them more and more as the race goes on. So I do watch, I'm going to be watching some of those drivers who I feel are kind of notoriously good on the long runs, like a Jack Walls. I say Jack, I think, is definitely one of the better drivers able to manage his stuff. Of course, we always talk about Ryan Kelly being in that situation as well. So I'm curious to see. I think Jack might be able to kind of work his way into the top 5. And like I said, right now it doesn't have the track position. Opted not to qualify. Started in the 9th spot. Already up 3 spots to 6th. Same goes for Chris Matthews behind him in the 92 car. So you just have to wonder if that kind of that deficit just to start off this race might be kind of getting him out of touch at a bad point right off the bat. So we'll have to see if Jack's able to kind of close that gap first to Michael Spell, who's now in 5th in the 88 car, and then of course if he can then close that gap to Dale Knott, Larry Yingling and company. Actually, I got to jump back up front because yeah, here goes Chad Wilkes. Maxwell, he's going to try to take the lead here through 3 and 4.
Absolutely, and Ryan Kelly going to take advantage and try to follow. I don't know if Larry had a bobble there off 2, which allowed the 17 to get a big run and take that dog leg, taking a shortcut to make that pass, or what happened, but Larry did not just give up 1 spot, but 2. Now, my personal opinion from practice, I think these cars are going to be a lot looser, especially on corner exit up front, than they will be in traffic behind cars. Maybe Larry was starting to burn that right rear up a little bit and decided to get in some traffic and get some disturbed air on his nose to kind of tighten that car up just a little bit. And maybe he's just riding here. Maybe he doesn't want to be the one to make the pit strategy later here in this run. Or, as you brought up in practice too, Gael, I don't know the true fuel numbers, but you've got an idea that maybe these drivers could squeak it out on one stop, which would be a 60-lap run. But what driver could do that better than probably the 67 of Larry Yingling? Maybe he's just sitting back here riding, saving a little fuel behind these guys early on in this run.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a track you can save fuel out, Phoenix is definitely one of the top options out there. Say with just the way these corners are, how flat they are. And I say the problem for Larry is he's not going to have a lot of opportunities to do so right now, because I say if he backs off too much, he's going to have a bumper full of that 94 of Dale Knott. So I say he can't be too patient here, or I should say too relaxed here, because I say any little mistake he has, that 94 is going to definitely pounce on him. And I say this kind of goes full circle now back as well, Maxwell, because this was the track last season where at the finale you kind of gave up your spot to let Dale get his feet wet. And I think we talked to Dale. We mentioned to him as well about it, where he just didn't want to kind of go full send as a kind of a new league for him. Didn't want to risk kind of the championship and all that. But I think we're seeing now Dale's going to really show what he has with these top three. What he feels like, I think, is one of his favorite racetracks. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how he's able to compete with these guys at the front here.
Absolutely, and since this season started, Dale Knott has really turned into a consistent top 5 driver in this league. And it's been so neat to see. And now this is really his first chance at a return track for him since he's been in the league. And look at him. He is running lap times comparable to Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly, and Chad Wilkes. And speaking of Ryan Kelly, he is looking underneath the 17 into turn 3. Going to probably slide the nose a little bit. May not be able to keep that momentum up underneath. Chad's probably going to have the advantage. But the 13 definitely looking at getting some clean air and trying to pull away with that long run pace we talk about.
Yeah, that's something we mentioned week in, week out. Ryan Kelly, one of the best at the long runs. So I talked to Ryan and during practice, mentioned that Phoenix, he doesn't feel like is one of his stronger tracks though as well. So, and here you see again the mixed strategies here. You see, you saw Chad kind of cut the shortcut a little bit. Larry go way low on it. Ryan Kelly and Dale Knott, they decided just to run the normal track groove. But again, they all kind of meet right back in the middle, entering turn number 3. So it's like you said, you've got options on when and where you can put that car. But it seems like when it all comes down to it, they kind of meet back up in the same spot.
Absolutely, and I think Ryan Kelly has just a ton of speed on corner exit in turn 2. As we were practicing, me and Ryan, being former teammates, we were out there in practice just trying to one-up each other on some lap times as I was prepping for our ride around the track. And by the way, folks, I bested him, because, I'm 94 all the way, right? No, just kidding, but Ryan will get a kick out of that when he comes back and watches this. But no, Ryan Kelly was beating me every single lap when we went on a long run out of turn 2. He could just roll the center so well and take off with a full head of steam down probably the longest straightaway. Even though it's a dog leg, I still think it's got a lot more length than that short front stretch. So if you're going to have speed anywhere, I would choose to have it right out of 2 to get that great launch. And that's where you're going to make passes like we saw Chad Wilkes make a pass on Larry right there, right? On that exit 2, that's going to be crucial all night long. And Ryan Kelly knows that, and he's just being patient right now behind Chad Wilkes, putting the pressure on him. And you see him entering a little bit higher, but trying to drive out a little bit lower. And you see him speed that nose up on the exit 2 each and every time. Yeah,
exactly right. So that being said, we're talking about the kind of things splitting up into 2 different packs right now. These guys are holding pretty steady. You see right now Michael Spell still holding solidly in 5th. He's only about 2 seconds off the lead pack right now. And Jack Wall's been able to close the gap onto him as well. And let's say last time by, actually, Michael's running lap times right on par with the leaders. Last time by, actually, he's quicker by 2/10 than the leaders. So that 88 car may have been able to save those tires a little early, and now is kind of getting that the lap times to turn back in his favor. So great job by Michael here, Jack Walls as well. I'll say both those drivers, two of the quicker cars on track that last time by. So and also a little further back, James Ledford, he's been in a little battle here with Chris Matthews. These guys 7th, 8th, and 9th. Gabe Butler right there as well. We mentioned these guys are right on top of each other in the points. So I'd say every position could be a cutoff spot. So these guys have to be really aggressive and just make sure that they kind of keep themselves aware of who is where in relation to them. And of course, maybe if they can find a way to stretch that fuel number, maybe try to get a lap lead as well, depending on how circumstances fall.
Absolutely, and as you tore away there to go toward the 5th place on back, every time it seems like you go away, Gaio, we had a battle for the lead. Ryan Kelly did indeed get under Chad Wilkes. He just was not able to complete that pass. And that's what I love about what we're seeing here tonight, Gael. And I do want to talk about 5th place on back here in just a second, but I want to point out to the viewers tonight that there are 2 grooves here in both corners, really. You can definitively see, if you look at it like a blimp view version of this track, you can see the darkest groove is actually a lane up off of the yellow line. So those drivers are taking that and using that to their advantage to really get good runs. You have a low side, and then you have the lane above it that you can run, each one preferable to different driving styles. And we see that Chad Wilkes will defend on that outside and be able to keep the 13 pinched and keep him from getting that momentum off that he's so well at. If that 13 gets around the 17, though, look for Ryan Kelly to probably take off into his own zip code. That driver's got speed tonight. But I am super impressed, as we have already ran 18 laps tonight, and you know, some guys we normally see toward the back of the pack, Gael, if we're being honest, are running very well tonight. Look at Michael Spell. Not only is he top 5, but he's only 2.7 seconds off of the lead pack. You know,
yep. And he's also, again, he's running lap times right with these leaders. The last time by 29.86, leaders 29.95. So again, a 1/10 of a second quicker for that 88 car. So I say he's definitely been finding something. It looks like he's really got some good longer pace. A little bobble there off 4, but Michael really doing a great job of managing those tires early. I think kind of taking care of them, and he's really, again, he's reaping the rewards now. His last time by, again, 29.84. A little slower than leaders, just by about a 1/10 again. But I'm saying that's Phoenix. So I mean, you're going to miss your marks a little bit. You might lose a little bit of time. But I mean, like I said, these guys are right on top of one another here. These guys putting down some great laps. Say Chad Wilkes, quickest car last time by, but look, here comes Ryan Kelly. He's going to work the outside. I think Chad had enough of it. He said, all right, you know what? You go on by. I can't fight you anymore. So now we'll see if Ryan Kelly is able to do like you said and kind of try to set sail here and stretch away from these guys.
The 17 finally bobbled. He was on the bottom of the track. Ryan Kelly had made that hard charge like we've seen him do into turn 3 many a times at this track, and got on Chad's outside, and it just disturbed the car. It just got the 17 to check up a little bit, and now look, Ryan Kelly already putting a decent gap between him and the 17. Ryan Kelly probably going to pull out to, I predict, at least a 2-second lead before pit stops, if not more.
Yeah.
He's just got a lot of pace in that car tonight.
He does, and I think you're seeing right now, Larry, he doesn't want to see that happen. I think Larry now trying to put some aggression back on the 17 as well of Chad Wilkes. See if he can then try to get around the 17 car, because this is exactly what Larry does not need to happen. You don't want to let Ryan Kelly kind of get that clean air and be able to kind of control the pace of this race and sneak away. As see Larry get right to the rear bumper here of that 17 car. We'll see if he peaks slow entering one. He's going to take a look. We'll see if Chad's able to hold him off there on this top side, like you mentioned, that momentum on the top side.
And that's exactly what we're seeing. Larry can peek his nose there, but unless he dives in and gets completely side by side with the 17, that's about the only chance he's going to have to make that move, unless the 17 gives way. And I've raced with, you know, Ryan, Chad, and Larry as my teammate for many a seasons in Area 51, and I'm going to tell you right now, nobody gives an inch to each other. We may all be teammates when we race, but we race each other harder than we would anybody on track. So these guys definitely not giving an inch right now. They know that if they're going to show their presence in this championship race, they have got to prove that they got what it takes. And you got to remember, Chad Wilkes is our previous champion. He doesn't want Larry coming up and dethroning him. He's trying to make a statement tonight. Chad Wilkes is coming to this race with the least amount of practice of probably any driver, and he has already led laps and is running second place. So kudos to Chad for making like 4 or 5 practice laps and then coming in here and qualifying the way he did and just continuing to run up front.
Yeah, exactly right. They've been doing a really good job here early on. But like I said, as soon as Ryan Kelly got that clean air, of course, got a little bit of wear on those tires as well. I mean, he's doing what he does best, and he's just making great lap times on those older tires. I say last time by was about 0.4 of a second quicker than that 17 car. But you can see, I mean, and it's not for lack of effort. I mean, like I said, it took a bobble from Chad Wilkes to let Ryan Kelly by. And now Larry's trying to do the same thing, trying to pressure that 17 into a mistake. You see, he keeps showing him his nose, trying to maybe make that 17 overdrive the turn a little bit into one. But Chad is just completely unfazed by just hitting his marks lap after lap right now. And I say, like I said, at some point, Larry's going to probably have to make a big move and try to force it. As you see, they're trying to sneak to the outside, see if he can hold that 17 down low. But now he's going to try to do the crossover here out of 4.
He's going to have to get to the outside, in my opinion. That's the only place that you can truly keep the momentum up and not break loose as bad. because what happened was Larry looked to the outside and he was going to try that crossover move out of 4. But as he cut down in the center of the corner, the car this week rotates so well that at times it really rotates too well. So the car broke loose on him. I saw the bobble right there in the middle of 3 and 4, and it was just enough to keep him behind Chad Wilkes. And now he's probably got another 2 or 3 laps to try to reset here. But Chad does slide up a little bit, but that's probably going to help his exit as he drives off this corner. Just kind of more of a defensive line to keep Larry behind him. But let's not forget about Dale Knott. It's almost as if he's being held up right now, too, by Chad Wilkes. So Dale Knott showing plenty of pace. And what about Michael Spell? He may be 4.5 seconds off the leader, but he is still within the 2 seconds of 4th place. Like, he is still running good lap times compared to the guys he's around. And I can't emphasize enough how some of these guys are just having a fantastic run this evening.
Yeah, you're spot on. And again, was watching the lap times. Say amazing the last time by. Chad Wilkes, Larry Engling, Dale Knott, all around 30.11s. All drivers same lap time to the 100th of a second. Ryan Kelly though 30 flat, 30.00. So I mean again showing another just 1/10 of a second quicker. But right now everybody's running really similar laps. Chris Matthews, he ran a 30.12, so he's right on pace with these guys as well. James Ledford a 30.15. So right now lap time's very, very equal between our top 8 or so drivers here. So yeah, I mean right now it really depends on, I think right now it's all about mistakes and minimizing them, honestly. As again you see Larry trying to find a way around Chad, hasn't been able to do so yet. But say with this all going on, it's just like you said, it's just let Ryan sneak away here, almost pulling now to a 3-second lead, just about in that number 13 car. As Larry again tries that topside, just can't get it to work. But I think he's trying to work that over under, get that high exit, and then really kind of cut underneath the 17. But again, Chad, like I said, just able to get just enough drive to hold Larry at bay.
Absolutely, and folks at home, if you're wondering why we're just mainly focusing on this race here for second, you're not missing anything in the back. Everybody is kind of strung out, gotten single file running their pace. We may have a fairly close battle for 7th, but they're still almost 4/10 away from each other. The battle right here is for 2nd between these 3 guys. They are just under a blanket right now of how close they are to each other. And like you said, Larry is trying to get that over-under where he's trying to drive in high and cut low, but the car is just breaking loose on him. And I know Larry likes a loose car, but what Larry or what Chad has got going for him tonight is I truly believe his road course experience is helping him, believe it or not. Phoenix is very flat, very long corners, and also a very heavy braking racetrack. And what do you need at a road course? You need to know how to brake heavy. So I think this track suits Chad Wilkes as far as the oval side goes. And even though he's probably slower than both the 67 and the 94, he is able to hold them behind, because if you watch him going into turn 1, he drives in so much deeper, but Larry can't get the exit speed he needs to get beside him or get around him. And if he does get beside him, he ends up getting loose or too tight or overdrives it and just can't get around. So that's what Chad Wilkes has got going for him here, is that he is able to hold Larry at bay. But eventually, I'm not saying Larry's going to put a bumper to him, because Larry's a pretty clean driver, but you can see it right there. He's going to get really, really close. He's going to show that he's tired, and you see Chad Wilkes just drive it that much deeper. But by the time Larry rolls the center, he just can't get much momentum. But as Larry Yingling does look to the outside, Chad Wilkes is going to use that dogleg to his advantage and still try to hold on to this 2nd place as Larry tries to side draft him there on the quarter panel.
Yeah, say here, Larry's going to try to cut underneath. This is definitely, I think, the best opportunity we've seen lately, just at the quarter panel. So I think the 17 is going to have to give room here in 1. So now it's going to be all about that throttle off there. And again, you see Chad, he said that middle groove, just so much grip there for him. Really gets a great run off of it. And like you said, I mean, while they've been battling, again, slowly but surely, Michael Spell creeping into this picture. 30.18 last time by for him, 30.35 for Chad Wilkes. So the really great long run pace from this 88 car here. So I say while they keep battling, it's going to turn this 3-car race into 2nd place into a 4-car race, as it looks like Jack Walls is going to go for the alternate strategy here. Maxwell, he's going to pit here at 35. So I think he's going for the 2-pit strategy. So he's going to split this one up, not quite in thirds, but a little early. So he's going to be the first of our lead drivers here to try to make a strategy call in that 82 car or 83 car.
He's pretty well running a 3-stop race here. If he's going to pit at that time each time, he's looking at 30, 60, 90. And we got to remember, this is not a 100 lap race like we're used to. Starting at the season finale, we bumped the laps up an extra 20 laps to try to match race distances where short tracks and intermediates would be about the same time. And, that's throwing some of these drivers for a curveball. And maybe Jack Walls might have forgot about that. Maybe he's pitted too early and put himself now where he's going to be on older tires the next 2 runs. But regardless, he is determined that he is going to pit at least 1 more time, if not 2 more times, to make it to the end. Where some of these guys, like we said, were not 100% positive, but there were rumors, and this could have been just getting somebody to try something, but there were rumors that you could possibly make it to the halfway point. I think you would be very, very, very close on fuel at that point if you do, and you would have to save. But some of these drivers may try to make it. But this is about the point in the race. If you're going to split it in thirds, we're coming up in a couple of laps to lap 40. That would be your 1/3 mark where you can keep the tires all kind of equal and probably have the freshest grip. And remember what we've seen time and time again. The first one to pit road normally has the best advantage all season long. But with that being said, I've also had some of the drivers in the practice session tell me that they didn't think tire wear was that big a factor. Lap times have slowed down a little, but they don't think it's going to matter that much when you pull out on fresh tires for the first couple laps, like we see the 2 and 3 second drop-offs at some places. That could have just been hearsay. That could have just been someone trying to trick somebody, but be interesting to see when they get fresh tires who takes advantage, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to be very loose that first lap.
Yeah, say right now, say also the one that Gabe Butler just hit pit road. And I'm thinking just based on the lap that the 83 Jack Walls pitted, I think he is still thinking about just making a 2-stopper only. I think this is now Larry's best chance, though, Maxwell, to try to grab this spot. I say he's been able to get just, again, to the outside corner. This is where Larry's going to have to probably pinch that 17 a little bit. But again, just Chad rotates the center so well there and keeps Larry pinned behind him. So say Larry doing everything he possibly can, just has not found a way around that 17 car. I say, do need to mention after the pit stops right now, say Jack Wall is starting to kind of get himself back acclimated with the new tires, get back up to speed. Right now running about a full second or so quicker than our leaders here. So we'll have to see again how much that lap time cycles around a little bit, as again Larry's going to work the top side here through 3 and 4. But I say right now Chad Wilkes definitely the thorn in that 67 side so far.
And the thing is, Chad Wilkes is just driving it so deep Larry is driving it so deep in the corner that he's giving up the middle of his corner, which Chad is just easily able to rotate and get the exit he needs. Larry is going to have to be side by side going into the corner, like completely side by side, not on a quarter panel, but just like he is right now. He's going to have to actually be completely side by side going in to where he can get a nose ahead. So as he gives up some time, Chad's not able to completely clear, just like this, just like that. Larry was on his side enough. Chad Wilkes cannot use the full racetrack. Now I will finally say that Larry has the opportunity to get around, but Chad, with that turn 1 braking he has, drives it deep and is able to keep the position.
Yeah, Chad just so good on the brakes here. And now you see us say we're going to jump back out a little bit further, because you see Dale, you wonder where the other guys are. Say there's Larry. He's finally able to force himself into the inside here. This is a different position for Larry. He's never been on the inside line through 3 and 4. This is his first opportunity there. So we'll see if he's able to make something happen. But again, though, Chad, just the drive off just is so good for that 17 car. And that's just where he's beating Larry at the moment. Do you also need to mention Eric Laurie? He's also hit pit road now. Last time by Gabe Butler, fresh tires, he ran a 28.88. As these guys trying to go 3 wide now for that second position. But yeah, 28.88 compared to 30.10 for Ryan Kelly, 30.44 for Larry while they've been fighting. And also a little further back here, Jack Walls, I believe, is starting to fight with Michael Spell. And actually not a fight anymore. There goes Jack Walls again. Jack also had that pit stop here. So he's right now trying, I believe, to get himself back onto the lead lap. He's got to get around these guys, but then he's got another 6 seconds to Ryan Kelly. So I say the problem for Jack is with those fresh tires, he's going to run into a pretty big crowd of cars here that probably aren't going to want to give too much room here with this fight they got going on.
Absolutely. He's going to have to be very careful about how he races around these guys. All of them championship contenders. He's going to have to make sure he picks them off where it doesn't affect their battle with the next driver. Or I can tell you right now, you'll have 3 very upset drivers at the end of it. I've been in that position where lap cars kind of made life tough, and I lost, 6-7 tenths of a second to the guy just because a lap car wouldn't let me by like they needed to. So His best bet is to pass them probably on the outside and let them have the inside lane. Dale not preferring to take the outside and just let Jack by quickly, hoping he messes the 67 and 17 up where he can get back in. But look, that one pass, look how much time Dale not lost by that car passing him. Gave up quite a bit of track position there. So it's not as bad as it could have been, but it definitely can affect the outcome of some of these races, especially as Larry continues to keep looking to the outside.
Yeah, this is where Jack's kind of now is, like you said, Dale being really generous there, say just letting Jack by. Say, I know you got fresh tires, go on by here. I'll say, but now say now you got this 67-17 fighting. You see Jack so much more rotation there with those fresh tires. So I'll say now this is where it gets a little bit tough for Larry here, because obviously he doesn't want to give up anything, because then it puts Dale right in that opening like you just talked about. So these guys putting on again just a huge fight, and I say now Jack just kind of adding to the party here, as he gets a great run off of 2, and then here comes the 17 down to the bottom. Can Jack clear these guys into 3? Just clears the 67. He's going to work the top now through 3 and 4. I think this is going to be Jack's best opportunity. He's going to do it. And so there's the difference in tires right there. I mean, look how easy Jack makes it look for Larry. Is saying, Larry's thinking like, man, I wish I could do what that 83 car did just there.
Absolutely, and for the most part, the 83 did a good job getting by these guys, and their race is still tight. So I will say job well done. But I'm not going to lie, I got very nervous when he started running side by side with Larry. He almost caused Larry to lose 4 or 5 car lengths to that 17, and that was not going to be a good situation. When you're a lap car, your goal is to not run side by side with those leaders. You want to go into a corner and clear very quickly where they can still run their line. So crisis averted. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it had the potential there with some of the moves getting made that could have really caused a shakeup in this battle for second.
Yeah, and the other thing we're noticing here, Maxwell, it's lap 50 now. Nobody has blinked. I'll say we've had the 3 drivers, basically, Jack Walls, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie. They've all opted to pit. I think they're on the 2-stop strategy, but it looks like everybody else opting to go on the 1-stop approach here. As again, Larry just doing everything he can to try to get around Chad Wilkes here. He's got the run again to the outside here. So we'll see. Larry's going to have to be a little more aggressive on the brakes here entering turn 1. But again, Chad just able to get just enough margin to keep that car in front.
Absolutely, and Larry's probably used up a lot of tire trying to pass Chad, and I think Chad used a lot of tire trying to stay in front of Ryan. But once Ryan was able to make that move, look at this, a 7.5 second gap. This is the Ryan Kelly we've seen this season. This is the Ryan Kelly I saw in practice when I said, Ryan, you've literally gapped me already. He, no matter how fast I was, he was just able to pull away. And I did figure his secret out a little bit, and I'm not going to give it away on the broadcast, but I kind of wished I was in the race just a teeny bit so I could see if I could run with that 13, but he clearly looks like he's the class of the field tonight. And to be outrunning Chad Wilkes and Larry Yingling and Dale Knott by the amount of time that he is just absolutely incredible. So give Ryan Kelly a lot of credit. Pit strategy is now in his hands, where actually they could pit from second place and he could stay out if fuel allows. He could stay out another 2 or 3 laps and still be the leader by the time he came off pit road and have the freshest tires of them all. So he is really in the catbird seat right now as far as this race goes now.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that's exactly, I think if you're Ryan Kelly here with the track like Phoenix, you run this thing until you absolutely have to pit, because the later you can pit, the better, because they'll say it also opens up that potential. Of course, we talk about green, white, checkered finishes. I mean, if we get a late yellow, although I suspect everybody would go ahead and pit for tires if we get a late yellow in a run like we would see potentially. But yeah, I think right now he runs this thing out as far as he can, because like you said, he's got such a gap over over Larry and Chad and Dale here. He's just, I mean, he's got control of this race. I mean, we're looking at the back of that 13 car. You can't even see them in the picture down the straightaway. So, I mean, that's just how big of a gap that 13 car has been able to put on these guys.
Not to mention that it keeps increasing lap after lap on this long run, because Larry and Chad have just had such a battle that it's just slowed them down incredibly. And, you do bring up, where if we had a late yellow, maybe people would come in and take tires. You got to remember, Gael, in the races that I was fortunate enough to win here at Phoenix, I've won 2 different races. I believe the last one for sure, and maybe the one before, the race was determined on pit strategy. And I know the last one I ran, it was with Logan Helton and Larry and Chad and Ryan. They pitted for tires, and I decided to stay out with like 15 laps to go. And because track position was so important, now granted, it was in a different car. It was in the current A car. But track position was so important then that even though they were faster, it's just like Chad and Larry. The pass could not be made. And I was able to hold on to get that win here at this track. So you can't count your chickens before they hatch there. You don't know. If we get a late yellow, I think there's a mixed bag of strategy. Look at the last race at Phoenix. Larry didn't pit for tires, and it hurt him. But I didn't pit for tires, and I won the race. So it just depends on the race circumstances and what we have. Now, with as loose as this car is at this track and how hot the tires are, I would think that most people would come and pit, especially if it's a late yellow. That would mean you have 40 or 50 laps on your tires. But who would maybe take 2 tires? Who would maybe take lefts only? What kind of strategies would people pull? That's what I would be looking for, because I've seen it time and time again. Pit strategy can win this race at Phoenix and take it away from the most dominant driver.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. So, say right now, you're talking about that while we were watching, say Dale's been able to get around Larry there for that 3rd spot. So now we've been watching Dale. He's just been kind of cruising. I feel like just watching this fight, and I think he finally feels like, all right, you know what? I think the shoe's on the other foot now. I think I have the advantage now. But you also have to look at, we're on lap 59, so we're right at that halfway point. So we're have to wait and see how far extra these drivers run this fuel out. Maybe try to get to, let's say, lap 63, 64. But I believe we'll see. And actually, here comes Ryan Kelly now. He's going to put it right on the middle here. So he opts not to kind of stretch it further than the guys behind him. He's going to hit the pit road right now, and is the only driver to hit pit road on these top 4 drivers here. So again, Ryan Kelly, even with the lead, he's opting to make that aggressive call, also bringing Chris Matthews in at the halfway point. So kind of surprised that none of these guys fighting for second, now of course now fighting for the lead, really surprised none of them made that decision to try to jump in right at the halfway point.
I'm really questioning with what we were told. Either Ryan feels like he's going to have enough fuel to hold on, or he burned up too much fuel leading like that, as Dale Knott now comes in pit road bringing Michael Spell with him. But my question is, does Ryan Kelly have enough fuel to make it to the end now? Because you see the 17 and 67 staying out this one extra lap, and you know what that's going to mean. That's going to mean that we now see they will be able to make it to the end. So they have confidence in that and can drive harder. Ryan Kelly, maybe not so much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the fact that, like I said, he's the earliest to do so, I feel like he should still be in pretty good shape to do so, but I almost wonder, too, if at this point, Larry and Chad, they're just caught up in this battle between the two of them. They're not even thinking about pit strategy right now. They just want to kind of one-up the other driver, because the other thing to mention is Ryan Kelly, he pits and he stays on the lead lap in that 13 car again, just the gap he's had on these guys. So that's the other thing too, is I think that the benefit he had was he had some options there to kind of make some strategy calls, as James Ledford, Michael Spell, they're finishing up their pit stop cycle here. But again, Larry and Chad here. Here comes Larry. He's going to try to make a late, I think he tried to surprise the 17 car, make a late entry there, so Chad couldn't react to it. So that's going to leave Chad Wilkes as the last car that's yet to hit pit road, as we're on lap 63. As Ryan Kelly, wasting no time, puts down the fastest lap of the race, 28.54 with his fresh tires. So now the question, I think, is going to be, where do these guys come out in relation to one another, the 17, the 67, and the 94?
I don't understand the 67 and the 17 staying out as long as they did, unless they just want the freshest tires at the end. Maybe the 17, I can see it, just wanting to make sure he has the advantage of tires, since it seems like they burned up so early. But he was able to hold the position for so long. That tells me that even if his tires are going away more than his competitors, track position is still king. So I really don't know why he gave that to Larry. I would have thought the way he was driving turn 3, he was going to pit. But he seems to always be the one that wants to stay out the longest and try something different. But it normally never helps him. It normally backfires him, unless he's just wanting to go super aggressive here at the end. But there goes Ryan Kelly already by him as he pulls into his pit box. So he's going to be so far behind without a yellow. I think he's solidified where he's going to finish.
Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see where these guys all cycle through. The other thing to mention is we talked about some of the drivers going with the two-stop strategy. I say right now, Jack Walls, he cycled all the way through into second position here. So say for Jack, I think you want this run to go maybe another 5-10 laps, something like that, because he's got a nice little gap right now on the 94 of Dale Knott. Looks like almost 10 seconds between the 83 and the 94. So say if it can go just a little more, maybe we catch a timely yellow. I suspect it'll probably bring all the lead drivers back into pit road, and it could have Jack pitting from second position instead of pitting from about 6th or 7th like he was prior to that pit strategy in the 83 car.
Absolutely, but I just don't think with the race going green and what we've seen all season long that the two-tire stop or the two-stop strategy, if you knew you could make it on fuel, that just isn't going to work. Tires are not going to make that big a difference for the amount of time you're on pit road. So, yeah, he will be faster toward the end of this race, but it's not going to be what he needs it to be at all. So, I think that's just a missed opportunity. Maybe he thought we were going to have some cautions. It's got him looking pretty now, but it's going to have him really falling through the order as this race goes on. But look at Ryan Kelly pitting early. If he has enough fuel to make it to the end, which we saw these drivers push it to what, 62, 63 laps? So maybe Ryan does have enough fuel, and he saw that, and he wanted to be the first one. If so, that's a genius call. I was just worried about the fuel number. So now, if he can make it the fuel number that those other guys did while he's leading, I think he's in the catbird seat. He's 12.8 seconds ahead of Dale Knott, who is really what I would consider the true second-place driver right now because we know Jack Walls has to pit again. Larry Yingling, 14.2 back. Chad Wilkes staying out that one lap extra, 16.0 seconds back. Like, lost a second and a half to Larry Yingling. By the time he catches back up to him, he's going to have to try to make the pass. And still, Dale Knott's in front of both of them. So Dale Knott looking to have a career night here in Area 51. A guy, you know, I've been waiting a long time, and I don't want to give a commentator's jinx, so I'm not going to say it, but that just made for an awful segue, too. But that's okay.
Yep, I know.
I really want to see Dale do well.
Yeah, saying we definitely want to try to get that interview with him in that top 3 for sure. So he's going to have some.
Now you bring the commentator curse.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'll say he's going to have some tough drivers to fight here. Like I say, he's going to have to try to hold off Larry Yingling, Chad Wilkes. We saw him just kind of cruising there at the beginning portion of this run, kind of just letting them fight it out. And then finally, at one point, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to make something happen right before the pit stop cycle. Got around Larry, and then decided to kind of make that undercut work in the 94 car. So. Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see because it's only a 2-lap difference between himself and Larry, 3 laps between himself and Chad. So, yeah, so it'll be fun to see kind of how the tires and how the lap times kind of cycle out because, knowing Dale, he's usually very smart about taking care of his tires early on in the run to get the best out of them later in the run. So I really think we'll see that 94 car. I think I think we'll see some more long-run pace out of him throughout this run as well. And the other thing, unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but Michael Spell in the 88 car, he was having a great run, had a really long time in the pits, and unfortunately that's dropped him out of the lead lap and now down into the 8th position, first car 1 lap down. Unfortunately, it's like he was sitting solidly in that top 5 position before that happened. So I'll say hopefully maybe something will happen to give Michael another break here and have him a chance to get back after it, but unfortunately right now trapped 1 lap down.
Absolutely, and that's, a sad thing to see, but he has to give himself credit. He's got pace tonight. He was on pace with Larry Yingling, Dale Knott, and Chad Wilkes. Toward the end of the run, he was slowly reeling in that group too. So that is a great encouragement booster for a driver like Michael Spell, who has spent the majority of races either wrapped up in accidents, hitting the wall, or just not able to contend for wins. Maybe running a lap down most races just from the torrent pace of these other guys. But to be able to say he ran with them at such a difficult track as Phoenix, that has got to be a confidence booster. And I look for that confidence to start carrying into the rest of this season, Gail.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there too, Maxwell, is the fact that at a track like Phoenix that's just so difficult, like you said, have to hit your mark spot on lap after lap, had to be so easy on the throttle and to avoid any issues watching Larry and Dale here go after it for that 3rd spot. But yes, I mean that's a very hard fought and well earned run that he's been having earlier on. So unfortunately, I'd say whatever happened, the pit stops messed him up. As you see here, we got a 3-way battle now going on for 2nd place with the 83, the 94, and the 67. I think Larry's gonna get the best out of that, and that's gonna now bring the fight back again here, Maxwell. So now you got the 67 leading the 94, and then the 17 as that 4th car in line. So we'll see now, kind of the shoe's kind of on the other foot now. You got the 17 trailing these guys, however, with the freshest tires. So it's gonna be a lot of fun now to see what can Chad here do to try to find his way back around these guys.
I think that car of Jack Walls, I don't want to call him a lap car, but at the slower pace and the different pitch strategy he was, it was almost as if they caught a lap car. So should not have been having to go 3 wide with that driver to get around. It really cost Dale Knott now 2 positions. I wouldn't be too happy with how that shook out, because the 83 should know who he's racing around and know that they were on, 30 lap fresher tires. So maybe some courtesy could have been shown more there, kind of backing out and letting Larry and the 94 race on into the corner, because he knew he was going to get passed like he has and lost that much ground anyway. But neither here nor there. The huge benefactor of that was Chad Wilkes, but now he's not really able to carry that momentum. It looks like he's kind of lost a little bit of the ground he gained. And Dale Knott looks to have gotten, I'm sorry, I was looking at a different car. Sorry, there's a lot of black and green cars.
Oh yeah, Michael Spelly's, that black and green. You're right. That Xbox car stands out just like the 94 car.
And when you're watching from the blimp view, they look very, very, very similar. So, just a huge hurt for Dale Knott there, who had a top 3 run going. Gael, your commentator.
I was gonna say we called it, and I don't know. I said we got what, about just over 40 laps to go in this one, so we got 44 to go, 43 now for Ryan Kelly. So I think right now, if you're Dale here, I think you want to see Chad and Larry, you want to see them start battling it back out for position, let them burn their tires back up, and I think this is also where I don't think Dale pushed his tires as hard as he thinks he needs to yet. So I think he's saving a little bit in the bag here, kind of banking on this thing going green to the end. I think we'll see a charge from a 94 car, I think, in those final maybe 10, 15 laps like we saw here before on this first run.
And can we just give a shout out to all the drivers of the Premier Series in Area 51? This is by far, I've been in this league for maybe 4 or 5 seasons now. I can't keep up. But I have never seen so much green flag racing and flag to flag coverage, where we have no caution. I decided to join broadcasting this year, and now I've had not many cautions at all to try to catch a breath. But it's amazing to see these drivers, and a testament to them of how they can keep the races so green and cause all these different pit strategies. And when do you pit, when do you not? And do I stay out because I'm afraid a caution is going to come out? But if there's not going to be a caution, this is what I do. Like, they have promoted that kind of racing here in this league, and it's really shown that I believe one of our toughest series, just because these big heavy stock cars are kind of hard to wheel around. To see these guys just keep these races as green as they have, it's just a true testament to them. And Gael, I'm going to call it out right here on the broadcast. I want to see even more challenging tracks for next season. And, I know there's been some controversy behind it, but Gael, I think the league's ready to run a Martinsville race, don't you? I'm going to be an advocate for that.
You're living dangerously there, Maxwell. I say Martinsville. I'll say that's definitely probably one of my nemesis tracks. I've never been good at the short flat tracks. I say Martinsville, kind of, I think the epitome of that, the short flat track. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, these guys have just been nailing it out of the park week after week here. And I mean, I ran some laps. I was helping work on the setup, help try to get a feel for it and everything like that. And I mean, these guys are making it look easy right now. I mean, I was struggling big time when I was trying to make some laps with the Xfinity car here, and these guys, like I said, are just doing an awesome job. So it's gonna be fun to see. Kind of say we're gonna be kind of getting back to more of the bread and butter of the schedule after this week. Say the Final Four race is going to start off at Las Vegas, then Iowa, then Auto Club, and then Homestead as the finale. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how those races unfold as well when we start picking up some of the bigger tracks, because we've definitely been in a different kind of a different group of tracks lately. Say it's kind of Indy, Pocono, the Daytona Road Course. So it'll be interesting to see once they get back to some of the big tracks. And then I think Iowa is going to be a really fun one as well. Say it's a fun short track with a lot of different grooves that you can run. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what these guys have in store for these Final Four.
Absolutely, and if I'm not mistaken, and I very well could be, I believe maybe next week we're going back to the bread and butter of Las Vegas, one of the league's favorite mile and a half. Am I correct there, Gael?
You are spot on. Yeah, we're going to kick things off at Las Vegas. So say that's going to be another fun one. It's a fast track, but definitely an abrasive track. So it'll be a lot of fun to see how that one's going to pan out. Because right now, yeah, I mean, obviously with this one at Phoenix, just the way it's gone green, I don't think you're going to see it spread out like you have here over at Vegas. Saying that's definitely going to still be one, though. It's going to put it into the hands of the drivers there. So a lot of different grooves you can run. Turn 1 and 2, of course, you can run low, but you have to fight the bumps, or you can move up a groove and maybe run just a slightly slower line, but just a little easier on the car. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see.
And not to mention that as we see a dominant performance by Ryan Kelly tonight, if you ask him what his favorite mile and a half is, he's probably going to tell you it's Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So look for him to carry the momentum of tonight that he's running so far off into Las Vegas next week. And guys, Guile, we never do this, and we should. Hey, you guys know when the start times are now. You should totally check it out and set it on your calendar. Green White Checker TV next week, Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Premier Series. It's going to be an awesome race. You guys need to tune in. Give this guy over here, Gael, some support for all the amazing work he does here with the broadcast. So come give a shout-out and start these playoffs off right, Gael?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun doing this as long as we have. So obviously still got we got 34 more to go in this one. I'll say Ryan Kelly just kind of beating up on these guys tonight. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it all pans out. And I say the other thing too is I'll say Dale and I have been plotting a little bit, and I say based on what's looking like right now with Ryan and Ryan and Larry running 1-2. So I believe there's going to be a bounty put on them over in the Old West in Las Vegas. So if we can see somebody knock those two off the throne, there's going to be a little extra money going that driver's way. So a little extra incentive to try to knock that 13 and 67 off the pedestal.
And to that, I say good luck, because Gael, whether we've realized it or not, there have only been 2 winners this season, and that is the 13 of Ryan Kelly and the 67 of Larry Yingling. We thought the 17 was going to pull it out at the road course, but Larry Yingling was the upset, believe it or not, at that race. So these drivers with this new car, we were told that this car puts things more in the driver's hands, because it is a car that you have to maneuver more, you have to wrestle with more. And it actually gets loose. It actually changes the handle. It doesn't just drive off the right front, which, granted, I think this has been the best season for the Premier Series we've ever seen. I think these cars, just how edgy they are, and we've seen so much passing with them, right? The right fronts aren't getting killed where it's just follow the leader. Now, tonight, pit strategies have kind of determined everybody's position right now, but some guys could be saving tire for the end, but I truly think these are the best driving cars Area 51 has ever put on the racetrack with these Xfinity cars, and I hope to see them stay for next season. But that is still yet to be determined, folks. But hoping to see them stay. They've been a lot of fun to play with, and a lot, like you said, getting to help out with setups this season. That's been a lot of fun. Haven't made it to all of them, but just a great car. And, when you put it in the driver's hands, the good drivers shine. And, we have 2 champions right here in Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling that are shining, and Chad Wilkes has just kind of been bringing up the rear in third, but let's face it, the 67 and 13 have kind of been in a league of their own for the most part this season, so just kudos to those guys and just showing what great talents they are, that they could win in the A cars and absolutely come dominate in these Xfinity cars.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing is it comes at no surprise to see Ryan and Larry do as well as they are this season. And I think it's like you said, I'd say just that little bit of a change from the A car, I'll say it's a little easier to drive. I say when you bring it to this B car, I say it kind of, I say, like I said, it kind of, I think, ramps up the driver's skill. So it just shows, again, just the abilities of that 13 and the 67. It just, I say, even just a little bit, it'll promote you that much higher up. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting Final Four races too, because I don't think some drivers have really been able to show their full hand in some of these races. So as we cross the line here, we are down to 28 to go. So we're going to run through the field here real quick. We got Ryan Kelly, of course, leading the way. Like I said, about 10.5 seconds over Larry Yingling. This fight for second, though, Maxwell is heating up. Larry Yingling in second, Chad Wilkes in third. So unfortunately, fading back a little bit now these last couple laps is that number 94 of Dale Knott. Trying to see if there's any right front damage or anything like that along the car. Don't see anything that stands out. However, he's holding a solid fourth, but he's going to need to try to close that gap to have a chance to chase down those two. Try to get that top 3 finish tonight. And then in fifth is the 92 of Chris Matthews. Right now, our highest climber, 5. Oh, as I say, the commentator's curse we just talked about. He gets big loose off of turn 2, saves it, keeps it off the inside wall, so he's going to be able to grab a gear and get back going again. But a big moment for Chris there in the 92 car right as we put the spotlight on him. Chris, I'm sorry. My commentator's curse working overdrive here tonight, it looks like. But right now, he's holding a solid top 5 with those 5 positions gained. In 6th position, we talked about James Ledford right on the bubble of the playoffs, but he is right now the best of those in that bubble position in the 6th position. We talked about Michael Spell there in the 7th spot. I say, unfortunately, pit road miscues has dropped him a few spots back from where he has been. Jack Wall's on the 2-stop strategy all the way, or has worked his way back up into the 8th spot. So say he's kind of getting back about where he was prior to all of this. And then the other driver right on the bubble looking to try to get in is that one of Gabe Butler right now, a couple spots behind the 48 car. So it'll be interesting to see where the points fall on that one. And then right now in the 10th position is that 071 of Eric Laurie. Right now he is, I believe, 2 down. However, we got to go back to this fight here now for that 2nd spot, Maxwell, because it is kicking off right now again with Larry and Chad.
Absolutely. And, Larry kind of dished back with the 17 dish in the first run, right? 17's got more pace here, but the question is going to be, can he get around? Now, what I think the 17 has an advantage of is his road course experience. Where we see it right now. He's going to dive off into turn 3, and he's just been rolling the center so good all night, but he's not going to be able to power up off the corner. That's where Larry's going to have the advantage. But he can keep his car side by side with the nose advantage. Watch him into turn 1 clear this 67. I'm predicting it. He is going to drive it in deep. He's going to roll the center and hopefully clear by the exit of 2.
Yeah, he's right on the edge of clearing it. Larry's going to have to be aggressive to try to hold him off right now in that 67 car. But it looks like using the shortcut, if you will, there, he's going to clear that 67 car. So move Chad Wilkes back up into that 2nd position. I'll say a very familiar sight for that 67 of Larry Engling tonight. He's been looking a lot at that rear bumper of Chad Wilkes. Unfortunately, prior to my commentary Chris stuff, I'll say Dale Knott was right in the mix of things, but unfortunately, he's just been losing pace these last couple laps in that 94 car, now down about 3 seconds to these guys. Again, I don't see anything standing out. I don't see any obvious damage or anything to 93 car or 94 car, so I'm not sure, unfortunately, what's caused the drop back a little bit, but still pretty much in a very comfortable position right now in that 4th spot. So they got a couple seconds in front of him with Larry and Chad, and then a big chunk behind to get to Chris Matthews for that next position. So right now looks like sitting pretty solidly in 4th, but I'm seeing a lot of cars getting loose here, Maxwell. So you kind of have to wonder, are we going to potentially see our late race yellow to kind of shake things up completely as we are coming across now to 21 to go? So I'm seeing a lot of loose race cars now.
We almost had that yellow with Chris Matthews whenever we were going through the field, Guile. It almost happened. But, going back to that 94 and wondering why he's kind of fell off the pace this run, something that I noticed in practice and I have not mentioned yet is when me and Ryan ran about a 10-lap run, he was pulling away from me, and he had more tire wear. I had more tire than he did, which in theory you would think would allow you to catch. But it's almost as if tonight there's a fine line that you can wear the right sides out a little bit more than your competitors, but still have enough speed to keep taking off and pulling off. It's just a matter of how even the wear is and if you're burning one tire more than the other. The 94, the second run, maybe just burned the right front a little too much. Maybe he's fighting with a bit of a tight in the center condition. It kind of looks to me like the car is pushing up maybe just a hair, or maybe he was just too conservative on the tires. And, by the time he got them where he wanted them, it doesn't matter because the gap is so large that he just can't keep up with the likes of Chad Wilkes and Larry Engling.
Yeah, so definitely something I'm sure he'll be kind of debriefing and trying to figure out for after this race, depending again how this falls. As we got 19 to go here. Right now, Chad Wilkes, Larry Engling, just about a half a second between the two of them. Again, pit stop difference, not a huge amount, just 1 lap later for Chad than Larry, but it looks like, we usually talk about that first car pitting being in the catbird seat, but tonight here at Phoenix, it looks like tires may have meant a little more, and that might be part of it too here, Maxwell's. Maybe Dale pitting those 2 laps earlier than Larry, 3 laps earlier than Chad. Maybe it was just enough where that tire difference was enough to kind of just keep those guys, or get those guys back around him. And of course, when they were trying to get around some of the cars on track, like I said, Dale kind of got the short end of the stick there. I'm sure that didn't do him any favors as well with those tires.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that fresh tires did play a little bit more of a factor than we initially thought. But I will say, even though the lead keeps shrinking, 9.4 seconds now between Chad Wilkes and Ryan Kelly, I still think Ryan Kelly made the best move he could. He played the defensive end. He pulled away early like he needed to. And, he had, about a 7.5 second lead before pit stops? He is still holding a 9-second lead over that 17. So he's still positive he has still gained on this strategy. And I just don't see with, coming here soon to 15 laps to go, I don't see where Chad Wilkes is going to be able to mow down 9 seconds off of this 13 this late in the run. So Ryan Kelly has played the strategies right. He is continuing to just run his line, running the dog leg, actually making the track as short as possible. Don't know if that's for a little bit of fuel save or if that's just to try to shave off any little bit of time he possibly can. But even though Chad Wilkes is coming, and he's coming quick, I don't think it's going to be quite enough to get to the 13.
Yeah, Chad's definitely found something in that 17 car too. I think that might be the other story too. Is say, like you said, Chad kind of some minimal practice before coming in tonight. That first run may have been more of a test session for him, really, and then really able to kind of kick things in gear after that pit stop, kind of know what the car to expect with it. Because like you said, I mean, he's been really picking up the pace now, like I said, down to 8 seconds now. Again, don't see it being enough where he's going to catch Ryan Kelly. But I mean, you also got to look on the other side too. I mean, you can see he's separated himself by now a full second over Larry Yingling, whereas before in that first run, he just could not get away from those guys. So I think also a great adjustment in the seat by that 17 car. Maybe like something we talked about too. Maybe he's able to adjust his brake bias a little bit. Even already being so good at corner entry, maybe able to get a little more out of it. But yeah, Chad definitely doing a great job now, kind of just getting the most out of this car on the second run.
Absolutely. And, he's talked before about how most of these times he has to jump in the race pretty late, with the jobs he has and the things he has to do and responsibilities at home. Sometimes you can't be on here to practice until a certain time, and he's able to jump in the room maybe 10 minutes before the race started. And that's been kind of the past few weeks. And he said that he feels like that's kind of hindering him, that last season he really got to participate in a lot of practice sessions we threw up. I remember practicing with Chad quite a bit last season, especially at the road courses. And he didn't get to practice for the road course. It took him half the race there to kind of get his feel, and you see the result that Larry Yingling had tons of practice put in and was able to beat him. At some point, you think with the playoffs looming and a reset coming up, will Chad Wilkes at least try to take these last 4 weeks to put in a little bit of practice beforehand so he's not having to start behind the 8 ball each and every week? Because I feel like if he wants to defend his title, he's going to have to put in some laps before these events, because he's not racing against, guys that are just way off pace from him. I mean, he's got to take advantage of every little advantage he can get. So if he can get a few laps in that Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling don't, that's just a better chance he's going to have to be able to be a back-to-back defending champion of the Premier Series in Area 51.
Yeah, exactly right. So I'll say there's definitely a lot in store, a lot on the line as well for that final 4 playoff races. I say right now jumping around a little bit. So obviously, like I said, right now at 11 to go, next time by 10 to go here at the line for Ryan Kelly. So I say he just wants this thing to stay clean and green for 10 more laps. Once he gets that white flag, I'm sure he'll feel a little bit more relaxed before he hopefully gets the checkered flag. I say, of course, wanting this thing to go green to the end. Chad Wilkes again separating himself from Larry Yingling about a second and a tenth right now. I say Larry holding solidly in third. Dale Knott again holding station in that 4th position. Say it was in a great spot, pitted a little early, jumped both those guys, and then I opened my mouth, and unfortunately that's dropped him down to the 4th position. Chris Matthews, he's still, I say another thing too is, I mean, I'm not sure how much pressure Ryan Kelly's putting on, but Chris is doing a great job of holding on as the tail end of the lead lap right now in that 92 car. Again, in the top 5, highest positions climbed as well. And the other position I'm watching here is going to be that 6th spot, Jack Walls on the 2-stop strategy. He is not that far behind that 48 of James Ledford now, about a second away from him. And again, alternate pit strategies right now. Jack with the 2-stopper, 20 lap fresher tires in that 48 car might be able to crack his way back into 6th position, which I think overall will be pretty much, I think, maybe not a net gain, but I think about a kind of almost a wash from where he was. So say credit for Jack to kind of try an alternate strategy, and he's going to, looks like it's going to see his way through, and looks like at the moment probably get him up to 6th.
Absolutely, having a pretty good run, doing the best he can here tonight. Gael, we see a couple things here tonight, right? We see yet again not very many cars going to finish on the lead lap tonight. Just a torrent pace that 13 of Brian Kelly has put on. 5 cars on the lead lap. Chris Matthews just barely holding on. And, before the end of the race, as I see the ticker update, and he is indeed a lap down now. 4 cars on the lead lap, and it's the 4 cars that I said were going to be a 4-car breakaway. Just who would have thought it would have been an entire lap breakaway, right? So it's the tale of 2 races tonight. So turned into the tale of the top 4 who have been top 5 drivers each and every week. all season long. And then 5th on back have been the guys that are battling for those playoff spots and those bubble spots. And Gael, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not positive if we'll actually know fully who is in those playoff spots tonight because of the drop weeks, right? Because we had so many drivers miss the race tonight that, you know, that could be used as some of their drop weeks or something, and it could affect the points, could it not?
You're exactly right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, so for those that maybe missed a couple of races here and there, it's only going to drop one of those missed races. So it could, let's say, for somebody who maybe only missed one race or maybe has made all of them, just had a bad race, that could elevate them very, very far up the order. So you see Jack Walls, he is going to be able to grab that 6th position around James Ledford. However, we're going to jump back now to his fight for second because Larry Yingling, he's made a second charge here, 0.3 of a second quicker that last time by, as Ryan Kelly's taken the flag for 5 to go. We got another big fight here for that 1767. Again, these guys just will not get away from each other tonight.
Looks like Larry maybe sat back and saved a little bit, or Chad tried to make a hard charge to go after Ryan Kelly, and as he did, probably put a lot of heat in those rear tires trying to get him to get up and grip out of the corners. And as I see the back end wash out a little bit on that 17, here comes the 67 looking. If I'm the 17, I'm doing everything I can to not have yet another 3rd place finish. As Larry puts the bumper to him, we don't normally see that from the 67 of Larry Yingling. Normally that's between me and him because I always like to race him a little bit harder than he likes. But he'll like that joke when he goes back and watches. But the 17 here, that's not normally contact you would see here, but we've seen these guys race really hard before in some races. 67 showing that he is not liking being behind the 17 anymore. And he feels like he deserves that 2nd place finish. He feels like he's treated this run right. He knows how the first run ended for him, and he didn't like it. So now he is fighting with everything he has left in this car with about 3 laps to go to try to get around the 17. But I'm telling you, he's going to have to learn how to send it in the corner like the 17 of Chad Wilkes does. If he does not beat him on braking, I think the 17 is going to be able to hold on for a good 2nd place finish tonight.
Yeah, so these two are going to definitely fight it out to the end, as right now we got 2 to go for Ryan Kelly. So he's just about 7 seconds in front of these guys. Like you mentioned, he's been able to, say he's holding a steady gap. I say it's shrunk a little bit, but I think that's just Ryan making sure he's got everything he needs kind of to make it to the end. So right now that 13 car able to hold on here. Now he just needs to try to get through 3 and 4 here, have nobody have any issues. He wants to see that white flag, and then from there he'll just be able to cruise to victory lane tonight, and he is going to get that white flag. 1 to go here, going to go caution free here at Phoenix Raceway. We'll take a peek back at that battle for second. Right now, Larry Yingling still trying to put the pressure on Chad Wilkes. So Chad's got just enough to hold him off at the moment. We'll keep an eye on them through 3 and 4, coming to the checkered here as well. But we got to watch our leader here, and looks like going to be our race winner in that 13 car of Ryan Kelly. It's going to close the gap over Larry Yingling here as he comes through 3 and 4. Ryan Kelly going to get the win tonight at Phoenix Raceway. And now we're going to jump back to this battle for the second spot. And it looks like Chad Wilkes going to hold off Larry Yingling, grab that second position, Larry Yingling in 3rd. And then bringing it home in the 4th spot. Last car on the lead lap is that number 94 of Dale Knott. He's going to grab that 4th position again. Going to be one of those ones, I think, what maybe could have been for him if it wasn't for me opening my mouth. But yeah, just a great run for those guys. And then Chris Matthews, first car, 1 down, going to grab a top 5 still tonight.
And Gael, I for the fans at home, and for me here, I think I'm gonna have to get on to you here. I went to say something, and then I
cut yourself, and I still opened my mouth.
I stopped myself, and then what did you do but open your mouth? And then look what happened. We missed the interview with Dale Knott I've been waiting all season on. I figured with this being a repeat track, tonight would be the night. Still a great run for him, just not the second. The second run was just not what he was hoping for. Maybe the handle went away. Maybe the track built up some heat. Something changed for him. Just didn't have the handle he was looking for, but still a great 4th place finish. Just an awesome race here tonight.
Yeah, well done tonight by Ryan Kelly getting that win. He's going to burn this thing down the front stretch. Try to make sure there's no engine left to have to worry about tech. And I say he's going to enjoy this one for sure tonight. So while we watch him celebrate, we'll go over our standings for the results tonight. And it's going to be Ryan Kelly getting the win over Chad Wilkes. Larry Yingling just not quite able to get around for that 3rd position. Dale Knott in 4th. Chris Matthews, our highest climber, going to finish in the 5th position. And then in 6th, we talk about the two-stop strategy for Jack Walls. He brings it home there, 6th. James Ledford, 7th. Michael Spelt in 8th. Unfortunately, after having a bit of a miscue, I think, in the pits, cost him a bunch of time. He had a great run going prior to that. And then Gabe Butler in 9th. Eric Laurie rounding out our top 10. And unfortunately, early retirement for Joseph DeCiro in that 110 car in the 11th position tonight. All right, so we'll keep an eye on Ryan here. We're going to start talking to some drivers, and we're going to kick it off with that 67 of Larry Yingling. So he started on pole tonight, finishes in 3rd. Now let's see what he feels like maybe he could have done differently tonight, Maxwell. Because I'll say this, it was a good result for Larry, but he always wants to get a little bit more. But Larry, 120 laps caution free. Unfortunately, you weren't the only one to be able to stretch it on the one stopper this evening. However, I think you're going to have dreams of the back of that 17 car tonight. I mean, take us through your race, and then, I mean, also that battle first throughout the whole first run pretty much, and then that late charge you had on Chad there coming to the finish there. Just seemed like he just was able to get the bite on the exit a little bit better to you, and of course, just with maybe the road course prowess, just really able to send it deep into those turns as well. I mean, what do you feel like you needed there to try to get back around that 17?
Yeah, it was an all right race. I know at the beginning I knew that we would kind of be close on fuel to make it halfway. I didn't really know if we could. So I tried and get the lead there on the start, and Chad had a good run Alpha 2 on me. So he got under me, and then when I went let Ryan by, I'm like, all right, I'll just start saving fuel. Because the way how much gallons I already burned, I knew I could possibly make it if I save it. But the track just slowed down a lot with the rubber. So even if you didn't try to save, that in itself saved you fuel. And you definitely saved a lot more fuel. We saved a lot more fuel than we thought. And at times I was trying to get by Chad, but it seemed like he was saving fuel like in the middle of the corner or something. So he would kind of slow down on the exit, and I needed to get that run off if I was to pass him. So that was hindering me a lot, and I knew that gave Ryan such a big lead. Even if he was a lap or two short at the end, he had such a lead he could save it if he needed to. But I think I was just in a position first start of the race, with the playoffs, first 8 races mean nothing, so I didn't really care if I threw away the race possible chance at the win, because I don't know if I would have won anyway. So I just wanted to try that strategy, and it just didn't really work out. I know Ryan made it 59 laps at the start. I'm sure he might have been able to do more. And Chad did one more than me. I probably could have stretched it that far too, but I just want to get that track position on him and see what I can do in case Ryan couldn't make it.
Yeah, another thing that Maxwell I noticed is it seemed like more often than not this season, the person to first pit, they would kind of get the track position, but then it seemed like you couldn't get back around them. But it seemed like tonight was kind of the opposite. It seemed like this was actually one where maybe the tires actually mattered a little bit more, having those couple lap fresher tires. We saw with Dale pitting before the both of you, and then Chad pitting one lap after you. Did it feel like that 1 or 2 lap difference on tires actually made a difference for you guys this evening?
In the car, not really. It might have, but I just didn't feel like it. I think on new tires, Chad, whatever he does, like in the center of the corner, because I was watching him in my mirror, and it seemed like he just, I don't know how he got back in the gas, or him braking a lot in the center gives him better run off as he can be on the gas more. So I think he had overall pace more than me. By the end of the race, I was starting to close in on him. He might have just been kind of like backed it down because he knew I couldn't get around him. But yeah, great job by Ryan for sure.
Yeah, he definitely kind of beat up on everybody tonight. So that's gonna, like you said, I'll say everything's kind of gonna get erased here going to those final 4. So obviously everything's gonna change there. But I mean, just an awesome job all season long, obviously for you. But I'm gonna pass it over to Maxwell here. Let him throw some questions your way as well.
Absolutely. And, Larry, you had a great run tonight. Didn't look like you had the car with overall pace to keep up with Ryan Kelly. And even you and Chad Wilkes looked equal at times. But I think when it came down to it, I think he just had maybe just slightly better pace. And I think you agreed to that. The one question I have for you tonight, though, is as the regular season ends and we go into this playoff, running it a little bit different this season, 4 races. And instead of, win and get into the last round instead of doing all that. We're just racing it out with points. Best out of 4 races, whoever's the most consistent wins. Tell me what you feel like you need to do as a driver in these next 4 races to secure the championship. Like, do you think you can make it just off consistent finishes, or do you think you're going to have to go out and almost win every single race to be able to come out as our champion this season?
I think I'm just gonna do what I've been doing. It seems to be working. Just besides tonight, I don't want to do what I did tonight. But as I am curious, if I didn't start saving fuel, then I know Chad started backing up to me to save fuel with me. I am curious how the race would have played out if we both didn't do that. But yeah, Vegas, Iowa, Auto Club, Homestead, and Auto Club and Homestead should be really fun with the multiple grooves. I don't know if Vegas has that yet. Then I've seen multiple grooves at Iowa. I've seen people run up against the wall and all the way to the bottom. And yeah, I mean, this format's a lot better. There's definitely a lot less chance of a back marker determining everything. And if it goes like this season has so far, pretty much no cautions and stuff, it'll definitely be who the best is. But just messed that saying up. Best man wins, and definitely looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, Larry, great run on your third place finish. Now we just want to give you a chance and an opportunity to give any thanks and shout outs you may have for this third place finish and for just being able to get into the playoffs. Who's helped you get here, my friend?
Definitely my teammates tonight, Ryan Kelly and Chad Wilkes. Great job by Ryan tonight, keeping that streak alive between us being the only winners this season. And definitely on my sponsors, Hash Bars Performance. If you need any work done on your Ellis engine or GM vehicle, contact them on Facebook to see what they can do for you. Muffin Sports Cards. If you are in the sports car collecting or want to get into it and don't know where to start, follow Muffin Sports Cards on Instagram. He has always wanted to get people closer to the hobby and can help you find stuff, so don't be afraid to ask him. And Fort Worth Screen Printing. If you would like t-shirts, jackets, bags, hats, shorts, among other stuff with custom artwork printed on them, check them out on fwscreen.com. And big shout out to you guys for broadcast as always. And looking forward to the last 4 races.
Yeah, great job, Larry. It's going to be a lot of fun to see you guys battle out for those Final Four. Obviously, a little different this season. Won't be a winner-take-all finale, so I'll say all 4 races going to be equally crucial. So enjoy this one for a little bit, and I know you'll be getting back into the simulator for the simulator to make sure you're ready for next week at Vegas.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now we're going to jump over to our second place finisher in that number 17 of Chad Wilkes. So let's go ahead and find Chad here. We'll pull him on in. So for Chad, started in the 3rd position, brings it home in 2nd. Say for Chad, though, it was pretty much a fight all night long. As they first trying to hold off Ryan Kelly there up front, and then having to try to fight with Larry and Dale prior to the pit stops, and then having to kind of the shoe on the other foot, having to get back around those 2 guys to get himself back to that 2nd place finish. I mean, I think what most impressed us tonight, Chad, was just the pace you had in the brakes. You're able to get in the turns so much deeper than the rest of the drivers, and then just really, really good drive off of the turns. I mean, what were you able to do, if you're willing to share, of course, to kind of help you to defend from those guys? Because it definitely looked like you were having to play defense a good chunk of this race, but there's just not much they could do to get around you.
Guy, I believe.
Oh, I didn't.
Lost Chad Wilkes.
Yeah, we had him, then we lost him. So we're gonna go over that again. Apologies. Thank you for that, Maxwell. All right, Chad, our 2nd place finisher tonight. Kind of a little bit on both ends tonight. You had to play defense at the beginning, then you had to go back on offense after the pit stop. I mean, I was mentioning, unfortunately I didn't bring you in apparently or something. Like we noticed though, you were so good on the brakes, and also you're getting such good drive off of the turns. If you're willing to share your secrets there, I mean, what were you doing to get to get that drive off, especially to be able to hold those guys out at bay, because so you're definitely doing a really good job of being able to kind of protect that position when you needed to, and then of course using it to your advantage as well when you needed to make those passes happen.
Yeah, I mean, once I passed Larry, and then he immediately let Ryan by, I came over the radio and said, "So Larry, I guess it's a one stop, huh?" And he didn't say anything, and Ryan said, "Yeah, I think it is." So from that point on, I literally just threw the anchor out and was just going as slow as I could possibly go to keep Larry behind me. I wasn't even thinking about Ryan, because once he passed me and kind of went off a little bit, I was like, okay, he can't make it. And Larry's been winning all these fuel mileage races, so I was like, I'm going to beat Larry tonight. He beat me at Daytona road course. I'm beating him tonight. And obviously oversaved and let Ryan kind of get away. But yeah, I mean, I would go super, super slow. I mean, I was letting off right past the start finish line. And then going into 3, I was letting off before the markers even started. And then if Larry ever got a run on me, then I would obviously drive it really deep. And, I think my best skill on iRacing is braking, probably in any car, which is why I'm pretty good at road courses. So, I always knew I could let him get to me, and that it would be really hard for him to ever outbrake me. So I kind of was able to really play it super, super safe with saving and make it all the way 65, but I ended up over-saving and still had plenty of gas in the tank at the end and let Ryan get away. So it's unfortunate, but, I mean, honestly, I just wanted to beat Larry, and I did that, but let Ryan get away.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's actually interesting to note, like you said, about the fuel side of things, that and I think Larry kind of mentioned it too, as he was watching just based on the initial pace, that he felt like he was going to have to roll it back and save some fuel, but as the race went on, the track rubbers up, the pace slows down, and it sounds like that may have put you guys in your pit strategy just right there on that one stopper. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's one of those things where it just, the way the race played out kind of almost possibly fell into the hands of Ryan Kelly in one sense, but also I said maybe it's something he was watching those fuel numbers as the runs went on as well. So, I mean, you can't give anything away from that though. I mean, you did an awesome job, and then to be able to get back around those guys when you went a little bit longer on fuel, was that just then kind of you going back to your probably outright pace in the car? Or is that just you able to maybe have that lap or two fresher tires maybe made enough of a difference there?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I knew I was going to be probably faster than Larry. I'm serious. I was only worried about Larry. So the whole thing, the first run, was to make sure I saved more than him, so that when we came out, if he had to save at all, I had that one lap extra fuel so I could push if I needed to push and pass him. So I was just saving. And then every, 2 or 3 laps, I would, just kind of hit it pretty hard and gain a little bit of time on him. And then I would just take 2 or 3 laps and save some more and try to hold pace with him. And then I'd push again and gain up a little bit of time. And then obviously those, however, few laps that took me to pass him, obviously I was going pretty close to all out at that point. And then, at that point you've got tires, and I don't know if he was still saving or not, but basically, and then as soon as I got around him, I tried to push it out to about a second, and then I immediately started saving again. And then I didn't realize until about 15 laps to go that I was good to go. And then I realized with about 10 laps to go, I was like, wow, I'm way good to go. I probably could have pushed about that whole run and made it. And then I could have put pressure on Ryan. So, yeah, I mean, I got too caught up with Larry. I wish Larry would have got his fuel right, and I would have got mine right.
Yeah, I was say it's one of those things. I mean, you go against these guys that, like I said, say Larry's obviously one that's pretty much one to beat week in and week out. We've seen Ryan doing the same thing. So yeah, so it's one of those tricky kind of balancing. It's like, okay, well, so you got to beat the one, but then then the other one, they're going to be strong week in week out. So maybe one that I wouldn't say one that got away per se, but yeah, it sounds like he's definitely had some more pace that you could have shown in that one, unfortunately, Ty. But still a good run. Obviously, you lock yourself into the top 8 for tonight's events as well. So you got those final 4 races to try to get that title, to defend your title as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch and see how that one unfolds. But we're gonna pass you over to Maxwell here, who's gonna maybe have some more things to run your way.
Chad, first off, good job with a second place finish, holding off Larry. I know how that feels. Barely been able to do it myself, but you and him have runs all the time. It's a good feeling to be able to hold off one of the best in the league, and you're a defending champion. You're one of the best in the league as well. So, the only question I have for you, though, speaking of that, is as we enter these playoffs, Chad. Here's my question: what do you feel like you need to do as a driver to go after this championship and be the back-to-back champion in Area 51's Premier Series? What's it going to take to be able to truly pull this off? Is it going to be consistency is key, or is it going to be you have to win almost every single race?
I mean, it's pretty much coming down to it came down to Larry and Ryan pretty much every race. And I know last year, I mean, once I kind of got on a roll, like it was, I mean, it was just one of those deals where I felt like last year or last season, I had to win every race. And I did start winning a bunch there towards the end. And I think it's kind of going to be the same thing this year. I just think that with the car count being so low, that it's really going to come down to those two guys. And I mean, without any cautions or anything like that, I mean, I don't know when the last time we've had like a caution that mattered in this season. So it's really going to be one of those deals where, I mean, they're going to be battling it out because it's going to be on pure pace and long run pace and stuff like that. And I'm probably just not going to have the time to be able to put in what I need to put in to make it happen. So it's probably going to come down to those two guys battling it out, and hopefully they might hit each other a couple times. Or maybe I have a couple tracks. Like, felt like this was a good track. I mean, I got 6 laps of practice in and felt like I was doing okay, but I feel like if this wouldn't have been a field mileage race, I might could have had a chance to win. So I don't know what the tracks are, but maybe there's a couple tracks that I'm pretty good at or naturally good at that I might be able to compete. But more than likely, just with, real life gets in the way sometimes, I'm going to have to, come running in here on Thursday nights right before the race to try to get in a race. So they might run into each other a couple times and I'll pick up the scraps. But, yeah, we'll have another season come around where I'll be able to put some time in and I'll win some more races.
Absolutely. Well, awesome performance tonight, Chad. Looking forward to seeing how you perform in these playoffs. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I think you could easily go and be our back-to-back champion in Area 51. But now we want to give you the floor for any thanks and shout-outs that you may want to give for this awesome second-place finish tonight.
Yeah, thanks to the teammates, Ryan and Larry, another 1, 2, 3. Feel like there's probably been quite a few of those this year or this season, and there usually always is. And thanks to y'all for the broadcast, of course. Y'all have done a really, really good job. I mean, some of these races with no cautions and stuff, I mean, it might be tough to talk about, but y'all keep it going and y'all find a way to keep it interesting, so that's good. And then, of course, thanks to the admins for Dale, especially for putting in a lot of hard work and getting setups and all that good stuff. And thanks to the drivers for, I mean, nobody's running into each other, which is always a good thing. So that's pretty cool. So I say the same thing every week. I wish we had – used to complain about cautions. Now I wish we had 1 or 2 every now and then. But at the end of the day, nobody's running into each other, so that's a good thing. So, yeah, appreciate everybody for that.
Well, if you need me to, I can always come back and start running into people again like I used to. I remember my first season for sure, right?
Absolutely. We need you. We need Kevin Brown to come back around a lot. We need Andrew to get back in here, and then we'll have plenty of cautions.
Oh, hey now. No, great run, my friend. Gail, take us away here.
Great run, Chad. Way to stir the pot before we kick you out of here. But awesome job tonight, man. Look forward to seeing you battle out there in those final 4.
I appreciate it. I'm just saying that to try to talk Maxwell into getting back down on the track at some point.
You won't have to work him too hard. He's ready.
All right, good.
All right, so they're egging you on there, Maxwell. They want you back out on track. So I think you're gonna have to give those drivers what they want here tonight. But we got to talk about this guy here, Ryan Kelly, in that 13 car. So we went until we mentioned Ryan. He felt like Phoenix wasn't one of his best tracks, but man, once he got that clean air, everybody was thinking fuel. Ryan's just like, okay, well, I'll see you guys later, because I mean, he just set sail, and from there, I mean, there was no catching that 13 car tonight. So Ryan, they're all worried about fuel. Was this maybe something where we know you put some time in getting ready for this week, put some laps in practice? This is maybe where he gave you a little bit of advantage, knowing a little bit better maybe what that fuel mileage was throughout the course of the run than maybe some of your competition tonight?
Yeah, I was actually unsure of the fuel numbers coming in, and then later on in that first run when Larry kind of let me and Chad go by, I kind of figured out what was going on. So after I got by Chad, I'm just surprised I had enough to make it to 60, honestly, and just making it there gave me a little bit of confidence that if I was saving from the start, I could make it to the end. So yeah, that's what happened, and somehow I finished quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that you did. I mean, at points, I think you were about 12 seconds up at one point in the race. And that's the next question. So yeah, so you got to 60 on the dot. Was that the absolute furthest you could go, or was that the Ryan Kelly split the race evenly? And that's why you decided to pit there.
Yeah, no, it was the farthest I could go. I couldn't even make it around again to try and get to 61, and then at the end of the race, I ran out of gas doing the burnout. So it was definitely extremely, extremely close on both runs.
So I say working the numbers to perfection. I'll say we'll say that's just the way you planned it out tonight, because I mean that was an awesome job. Like I said, I mean, yeah, say that was one you felt like maybe wasn't one of your strongest tracks tonight, but I mean you put it to them tonight. Like you said, I mean, I'm looking at the lap times as well, and I mean I think you had the fastest lap of the race as well. So I'll say it definitely wasn't for a lack of pace for you tonight. So just well earned win. Like I said, just an awesome job tonight. As like I said, you made it look easy. With just the way the fuel went to everything like that. I mean, you hit it spot on tonight. So congrats on that. Honestly, I say I don't have a ton I can bug you about, because I mean it looked like pretty much a spot on performance from pretty much from lap 1 to lap 120 there. So Maxwell, I'm gonna hand it over to you, because I think you might have some better insight than me.
Well, I do know one thing. Since I wasn't in the field for him tonight, Ryan Kelly was finally able to get him a win here at Phoenix. No, I'm just kidding, Ryan. You had a great run tonight. I know me and you have had some friendly run-ins at Phoenix. I can think back to a championship race where we were slamming each other going into turn 3 and somehow held on. But no, in practice, we saw it, man. I was running with you. You had so much pace tonight, had so much speed. I think once I figured out your secret, which I didn't tell nobody on the broadcast, you're welcome, my friend. When I figured out your secret in practice, I'm not going to lie, I was up here in the booth itching, thinking, man, could I run with him? He's got that 11-second gap. Could I be right there with him? So I think the competition in me, I wish I could have been out there running with you, friend. I love running with you, but great run tonight, great win. Great momentum to come into the playoffs, right? So with that being said, here's my question. And by the way, this is individual. I've asked nobody else this question tonight, okay? This is just for you. So going into these playoffs, okay, going into this 4-race dash for a championship, what do you feel like you have to do to come out as champion this season? Well, you've got Chad Wilkes and Larry Yingling running consistent each and every week. So do you think consistency out of 4 races will be enough to get it? Or do you think you have to go out there and win every race, lead every lap? Like, what is your mentality going into these next 4 races?
Definitely put myself in a position to be there at the end, but I think, yeah, like what you said, with some of the names we're racing against, it's going to take a win. And I know it did last season and the season before that. And when you won it, when I won it, it's normally takes a win, because we got a lot of good drivers in this league. So I'm sure one of the 2 races is going to probably have to be won by the same guy.
Well, Ryan, you have shown almost the outright pace all season long, I believe. Not at every single race, but for the majority of them, you have had just the pace to beat, and you showed it again here tonight, winning by 6.5 seconds and leading 97 of the 120 laps. So great run tonight, great win to take you into the playoffs. Now we just want to give you a chance to give any thanks and shout outs you may have for this awesome win tonight.
Yeah, my teammates this race, Chad and Larry. Nice to beat Larry on his strategy this time after he got me on tires last week. And shout out to you guys in the booth for an awesome broadcast as always, and all the admins for running the league. It's been a really fun season, especially with this car, and looking forward to more next season.
All right, well, great job tonight, Ryan. Like I said, it's a little different this season. So you're going to have the final 4 races, best of the 4. So like you said, might have to win maybe more than one versus last season with the winner-take-all finale. So you're going to definitely have your work cut out for you with some of these guys that you're going to have to race in that final 8. Or final 4, I should say, with the top 8. So congrats again, man. Enjoy this one. But look forward to seeing you next week at Las Vegas.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, Maxwell, that is our race winner in that 13 of Ryan Kelly. So say nailed the fuel mileage. It seemed like it was right to plan. Everything went the way he wanted to, but it's actually a little bit of luck. As I say, goes a long ways as well. But I say Ryan Kelly had a little bit of all of it tonight. Had the pace, had the luck, and then had the speed as well. So so he did it all tonight to be able to pick up that win. And say we always talk about momentum as well. That's going to kind of push him in that right direction. Going into that race next week at Vegas, which sounds like from your insider info, definitely one of the tracks that he definitely enjoys racing at the most.
The field has made a grave mistake allowing Ryan Kelly to win a race going into the playoffs. We've kind of seen this before where when he wins a race late, he gets on a streak. You heard Chad Wilkes talk about he got on a streak last season, late in the season, right? Peaking at the right time. Larry has dominated most of the season, but now is Ryan Kelly or Chad Wilkes ready to peak at the right time? The points are all reset now. We have 8 drivers ready to go after a championship. And we saw a lot of guys, running so much better tonight. Could they get on a streak here late and be a huge upset? Could Dale not start knocking out some top 3s and top 2 finishes and be an upset here with consistency? Like Chad said, Ryan and Larry may run so hard for this championship that they end up wrecking each other and finishing back in the pack. You never know what can happen with a system like this. All I know is that we've got 4 races left to go. We've got 4 distinct tracks we're going to, and I'm just excited to be along for the ride to see who's going to win it all this season. It's going to be awesome, Gael. The playoffs start now.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we're already at the playoff point. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Do have, let's say, one kind of a quick note adjustment, unfortunately, that we have to make is, right now it's going to show, it won't show on your screens, unfortunately. But yeah, so that we're going to have officially 8 drivers in the playoffs. Right now it's going to show as 9, because unfortunately one driver having to bow out due to work requirements, and just unfortunately won't be able to make some races. So obviously, as we know, top 8, we're going to be seeing Larry Yingling in the 67. We're going to be seeing Ryan Kelly in the 13, Chad Wilkes in the 17, and the other drivers in that top 8 are going to be the 1 of Gabe Butler, the 5 of Kevin Freese, the 48 of James Lefford, the number 92 of Chris Matthews, and then the 83 of Jack Walls. Unfortunately, Dale not say that's part of why he kind of something we had last season as well. Unfortunately, say Dale's got a new job. He's going to be moving midway through the playoffs, so unfortunately he's going to be missing a couple of races. So opted to kind of offer up the spot since he's going to be missing them from the 8th position, so it drops to the 9th position. So one driver is able to sneak their way in that way. And saying it was actually a 5-point difference between 9th and 10th, so it was very close for who was going to be that one to get in. So unfortunately, I'd say we won't see Dale in the championship finale. However, we'll still see him in the couple of races that he can make. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun to see what we got in store for these top 8 drivers going into Vegas next week.
Absolutely. It's going to be, I hate to hear that for Dale. He's had such a strong season, but life happens. Chad said that tonight, right? Life happens sometimes. So we understand that. This is just a lot of what these guys do for fun. When it comes down to it, real life has to come first, and we see that. But, man, for you guys watching here on Green White Checker TV, it's going to be an awesome next few races, guys. You are not going to want to miss it. And guess what? We are here at the same time every Thursday night. So the next 4 Thursdays, make sure you've got it on your calendars. You got it scheduled. Man, I got to order me a pizza, or I got to get me some awesome supper, and I got to eat and get ready to watch some awesome racing these next 4 races. You think you've seen some good stuff now. You just wait till you see these guys going for a championship. We haven't seen a lot of cautions this season, but Gael, this could be the point in the season where these guys race so hard that we may see not only a couple mistakes, but a couple guys maybe even beating and banging so they can come out on top as an Area 51 Premier Series champion.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think the aggression is going to ramp up, and like I said, you talk about drivers racing hard even with their teammates, like the 17, the 67 we saw tonight. So I think we're going to see that at another level even there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, definitely stay tuned there. We got one more season or one more race to go before we start the playoffs for all 3 series. Sunday night we got the Super Speedway Series regular season finale, and we'll kick off the final 4 playoffs over there as well. And so Tuesday, it's all going to start again with the Indy Series, so stay tuned for that. Until then, Maxwell, as always, it is a pleasure, sir. And of course, everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us, supporting the channel here and supporting the league. It means a ton to all of us. But until then, happy Friday Eve, and we will catch you all on Sunday. Until then, have a good night, everyone.